the greatest, you can be the best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You could be the
I think let's begin. It's sharp
Okay.
9 p.m. in India. Hello and welcome to our episode 2. The topic today that we are going to discuss is designing coffee products from idea to market. Welcome to another exciting episode of Game of Nutrition podcast, where we dive deep into the world of food, innovation, and holistic nutrition. I'm your host Khadija, and today we are brewing up something special, designing coffee products from idea to market. Joining me here today is an expert in coffee product development, Atish, who is here to spill the beans on everything from roasting coffee secrets to packaging innovations. Welcome here. Before we begin, we would like our guests to introduce yourself and tell us why you chose this field, what inspired you to be here today.
Hi everyone. This is Atish here. I am a student of Masters in Food Technology. I'm doing my Masters in Wageningen University and a Research Center based in Netherlands. And I have started my Masters in the year 2022 and just about to end my Masters. So this is my internship that I am doing right now in a famous coffee-based company in Netherlands called Jacob Dave Egberts. And so I was doing my bachelor's back in India in the year 2016 till 2020. And after my bachelor's, I got to meet Khadija. So in a company where we both were working as an intern. That's the way I got to know her. She's very hardworking, and she has invited me for the podcast. So I welcome you and everyone who are live for in the event to enjoy the session with you guys. Yes.
We met at Prolicious.
Yeah.
He was the intern there before me, and I joined as a junior. And now I think we are here today. So before
Okay.
we get into the game, I think let's begin with a discussion and
Yeah.
then we'll get back to the interesting game that we have planned for you all today. So, uh, when we talk about coffee or any product development, what is the first step that you look into?
So when we develop for any of the product, not only coffee, we go for the idea generation process. And for the idea generation process, like we brainstorm, we have a team of people who are like kind of expert in different field. We brainstorm the ideas, we screen a lot of ideas. So these are the basic steps that we two basic steps that we follow for the idea and innovation. And rather than that, there is a team, sensory team, consumer team, who is head of the R&D team. So I am currently based working on the R&D team. So we have a team of consumer and marketing team who takes the survey for it, and who give us the idea regarding what the products need to be done, who gives us a lot of ideas like how we need to prepare the or develop the product. And on the basis of that, then on the requirement and basis of on the requirement of the reason where we are going to make the product, we design our product. So, suppose like in India, we can have some products which are high in sugar content. We have a regulations that's high in sugar, or this much amount of salt could be added to the product. So it depends, it's very upon reason to reason basically.
So that's how you find a balance between innovation and practicality when you create a new blend. Like you get a customer already before you even do the idea generation, you look what is into the market and what the customer demands. I think that's what you meant.
Yes. The voice of the consumer is the most important thing we consider. Like any of the company or wherever you work, the voice of the consumer is the ultimate goal that we hear.
Okay, so you develop coffee mixes or like the brewed coffee with added ingredients. So what is your specialty as of now?
As an intern, I am working as a R&D, which is specialized in producing the instant mixes. So
Mhm.
we try to use the instant coffee into different kinds of mixes. And other than that, in our company there are a lot of products, coffee products that's been developed. Like I can consider about the roasted bean coffee beans, roasted coffee powders, And other than that, we go for the brewed coffee shots, different types of brewed coffee shots. And coffee is
Okay.
quite complicated, yes, so we try to develop a lot
Yeah.
of.
So, when you develop products, do you add some, nutrients which, complement the coffee's flavor profile? Like when it comes to nutrition, there are collagen and adaptogens that are added into the coffee mixes. What do you think? What is your view on that?
Okay, so considering the flavoring profile or nutrition added to the coffee, if I tell about my space where I'm working right now, so if for instant mixes we use kind of skim milk powder which add the protein for the product. We try to use also right now we are using the plant based milk also, plant-based milk to the coffee product, so that nutritionally it can be enhanced, and it's good for the lactose intolerant people also. And other
Yeah.
than that, for the nutritionally balanced, we try to minimize the salt and sugar as far as possible, and low fats also, because the fat is kind of unnecessary thing that people are not they are not requiring for the instant mixes. So I try to put a balance between all the ingredients and develop a highly nutritionally enriched product.
Do you drink coffee?
Lot. I drink a lot of coffee. I
So,
prefer espresso over other instant coffee that is available in the market. I prefer espresso.
but when we talk about coffee, it reminds me of a case that I was dealing with. So, one of my clients, she was drinking almost 6 to 8 cups of black coffee daily. Now, this has a lot of impact on not only health, but other things also. Like it's a stimulant, and some people even have acne, breakouts, some other sort of, things that come up with this. So it's important to how you deal with, reducing the coffee content as well. Like developing products is one thing, but it's not like you can have a lot of coffee, without considering what it does to your health. So I think reducing the coffee slowly by nutrition counseling is what is important also
Yeah,
when we
like also there's
when
a
we yeah.
sorry, like I was also telling, like there is a kind of you cannot have a lot of coffee in your diet, because it's like the RD also tells that you can have about 400 milligrams of caffeine in the body, which is which is quite a lot. 400 milligrams is like it's
Mhm.
kind of maximum limit that you can attain. Because
Yeah.
I have a kind of small experience also recently, where I drank around when I was new to the company and I was doing the sensory profiling of a lot of coffee products. I drank around 15 cups of coffees for the sensory evaluation, and that kind of had a headache, and I got into like kind of excessive sweating from the body, and I was not able to. I feel like vomiting, so. It has a very adverse effect on your body if you have excess coffee, if you provide the excess coffee to the body.
So I think there is this phenomenon if excess coffee is there, it even causes twitching of your muscles. So जो आग पड़पड़ाती है and things like that, which people tell, it can also happen due to coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when we talk about coffee, health, nutrition, but what about the packaging? Since that's your specialty, how does sustainable packaging in the coffee industry help in, preserving the quality, the nutrients, and have you seen any new innovations in that field?
Yeah, for packaging, I can say that basically we are trying to reduce the use of plastics in our sachet. And because I'm not specializing in the packaging industry, sorry to tell you, but I have seen a
Mhm.
lot of my colleagues who are working on the packaging department right now, and they are kind of trying to minimize the use of plastic packaging material, and they are kind of try to reduce the use of laminates also, the multi-layer packaging that we are using for the preserving the coffee quality. They try to minimize the layers of the plastic layers, basically the plastics layers. And reusable plastic, biodegradable plastics are being used. And I can say that packaging also has a lot of regulation in different countries. They have a kind of packaging standards that they follow. Like if I tell about, I don't know much about the regulations regarding the packaging, but I can say that this is the quite a innovation that is currently followed. And for the packaging, I can say the labeling, the nutritional information on the packaging or the misinformation should not be there. Like right now, a strict
Mhm.
regulation is there. You cannot put any kind of false advertisement on the packaging material outside the packaging, basically. So
Yeah, I
nutritional
think that
claims
goes
should be,
for all products because
yes,
mislabeling and false claims are there is a new regulation that has come up for that also. So there is
yes,
a you have to have some criteria met to put that this product is high in protein or high in carbs or has there is a percentage for each nutrient. So I
yes.
think people
So
should believe
it,
in the packaging now, given that we have a regulation and which is being implemented, and in further days the existing products will also be rectified. So
yes,
there's
yes.
a question from the audience. Can you please explain about the roasting process and the chemical reactions behind coffee production?
Okay, fine, fine. So basically, in the roasting method, so roasting is the most important for the flavor development and all the aroma that we get. And so roasting starts from like medium roasting, light roasting, and dark roasting. So these are the basic three steps. And it also depends on the which kind of coffee beans you are using for the roasting. Okay, so
Mhm.
if we go for the roasting of robusta beans, so these are the two one kind of bean that we get in the market. If we go for the robusta beans roasting, then it provides a kind of different aroma, like it's kind of
Mhm.
acidic, more acidic aroma. You'll be getting very strong smell of uh, I don't know, but it's a quite complicated process of roasting. So, and if you are then roasting at, and the basic roasting starts at around 125 or 150 degrees centigrade, then it goes
Mhm.
still around 200 degrees centigrade. And at each steps of roasting, different flavors, different aroma is obtained. And one of the basic reasons for the aroma is the Maillard reaction. The sugar and the
Mhm.
protein interactions takes place,
Yeah.
and that generate a lot of flavors, colors, aroma you can get from the coffee. So it really depends on the, if any
Yeah.
of the audience is getting a chance to go to a coffee roaster or on working in a coffee company, they can easily experience.
Given that, I would like to mention the audience that coffee is not rich in sugars or proteins. It's just
Yes,
that the compounds in the beans contains carbohydrate and protein to a ratio which helps in the Maillard reaction. So,
yes.
when coming back to where we were, we spoke about packaging, sustainability, and when we talk about the market, is there a growing demand for functional coffee mixes?
Uh, yes, yes, I can say that. There is currently a growing demand for the functional coffee mixes because I guess, as you said before, the question for the adaptogens or the collagen, how I'm going to kind of flavor profile all these ingredients to make a good coffee instant mixes. And like for the functionality part of view, I can say that coffee is being uh, can you please tell me the question? I really, I want to hear
So
the question.
I wanted to I was asking why do you think there is a growing demand for functional coffee mixes? So
Okay,
when there is this collagen based coffee or these adaptogen based coffee, even mushroom coffee, there is magic mushroom coffee. So why is there a growing demand for these kind of products?
okay. So basically, some of the people, they are caffeine sensitive. They cannot tolerate a lot of caffeine in their body. That's the
Mhm.
reason also we are doing the decaffeinated coffee. So decaffeination is one of the functional property of the coffee as well, like removing the caffeine part. So, and I can say we are also having some coffee in the market that kind of provide the vanilla based coffee pouches. So they are kind of, we are providing the kind of vanilla based coffee to the consumer. So consumer is constantly, they wanted to have some kind of a recipes or new kind of recipe
Yeah, they
according
want
to the,
new nutrients added into their coffee at the end. You know, everyone wants more than what they're just getting. They just don't want caffeine. They want more
yes,
of
yes, yes.
some functionality.
or
So I
some
think
kind of
that's,
ingredients that
yeah.
complement with the coffee, that complement
Mhm.
good with the coffee flavors.
Mhm. So, have you seen a consumer's shift in perception towards instant coffee versus the traditional brewing, and how would you relate that with Indian population and the population in Netherlands?
Yeah. So basically, if I talk about the population in the Europe, what I got to know, they still prefer the traditional brewing, traditional coffee as compared to the instant mixes, because I think they have a kind of tendency to see the coffee freshly brewed in front of them and then consume it, rather than going for the packaging, rather than going for the instant mixes. But the instant mixes market is very much prevalent in basically in UK, where they wanted to have some milk based coffee products. And
Mhm.
so, and it differs from region to region. So if I talk about instant coffee in India, so like if you go about Nescafe or Brew, that is like kind of in India we get to know about instant coffee in a pouches, small pouches in India. And if you go to the southern part of India, like in the Karnataka or Chikmagalur area, where a lot of coffee is grown, they they I think they prefer to have the filter coffee. It's a kind of it's also a kind of freshly brewed coffee, and where you consume the coffee directly. You also don't prefer having the coffee pouches. So it is quite diverse from region to region. In basically in Netherlands they go for the traditional brewing. In UK they go for the instant mixes in pouches. In India also it is very much diverse, I can say.
Okay, so I think let's move on to the game and then come back to our discussion. Uh,
Okay.
so the game today is about coffee. Again, it's truth or myth. So I'll
Okay.
be giving the statements, and you have to just put in a T or an M. You can just type T and M. You want, you can type the whole thing, truth or myth. And
Okay.
there's again a giveaway this time also, based on the one who interacts the most. So I
Okay.
think let's begin if the audience is also ready.
Okay. Fine. Quite excited for the
Okay,
game.
so yeah. So let's put up the first question or the first statement. Instant coffee contains more caffeine than regularly brewed coffee.
Okay.
Let's see what
Instant
the
coffee
audience.
contains more caffeine than the regular brewed coffee. I think it's an myth. Basically, it's an myth, I guess.
Yeah, it's a myth. So, what happens exactly is instant coffee contains less caffeine than freshly brewed coffee because an average cup of 250 ml of coffee contains about 60 to 70 milligrams of caffeine. When it's freshly brewed coffee, it can have up to 95 milligrams per cup.
Okay.
So, okay. So I think the audience are also correct in that state. Or they're telling myths, they're telling no.
Okay.
Uh,
Fine.
so now we have the second statement. All instant coffee mixes contain unhealthy additives like sugar or artificial flavors.
It's a myth, basically. If because if I get to know from what I have been dealing with, so all the instant coffee mixes don't contain the artificial additives and sugar. And it also like kind of, I can say, depends on the regulations that we follow. We try to some countries like are strict to are using artificial flavors and sugars. They don't want. And some
Mhm.
countries are quite strict about artificial sweeteners as well. So all the instant coffees, they are contain the, they are not, they do not contain. So it's an M for me also.
Okay, the audience is also telling myths. So I think everyone is very good with this game. I feel I should have chosen some little difficult statements, but to explain those who do not know why that's the case, what happens is at the end, you've got to read the label. So there are a lot of mixes or coffee, instant mixes or instant coffees. They have sugars or artificial flavors, but no one is hiding that. It's there in the label. So you
Yeah.
have got to read the label and you can find the best coffee what you want to have.
Yes, that's the
So
more important thing. Like you should have to read the labels rather than
yeah.
because labeling is quite important for any of the products that you are buying.
Okay, so we have the statement three. Adding MCT oil to coffee can help with weight loss.
Um, so basically, it's an okay myth for me also. I can like explain you why. And like medium, I think MCD is like a medium chain triglycerides oil. You're
Yeah,
talking about that one.
yeah.
And it depends on the like how much quantity of MCD oil you are using. It's not like if you're using a lot of MCD oil for getting the stability or proper mouthfeel, then it will only helps in the weight. It will help in the weight gaining rather than the weight loss. And I think that it's a myth for me. So you have to kind of
So,
minimize. You have to put a strict. You have to be maintained in your strict regulation while putting the MCD oil in your coffee.
so, when it actually comes to MCT, which is chain triglycerides, they are short chain fats. So they get easily absorbed into your bloodstream compared to our normal oil or fats that we use regularly. So what happens is this can help in weight loss, but there has to be a limit set to it, and there has to be a time also. Like people have coffee in the morning with a teaspoon of ghee, which is a source of MCT. So,
Yeah,
and there are specialized products also available in the market. So, when you have this coffee with this fat right in the morning, you know, so there's this boost of energy that is there for with even in your system for the day because you have that boost of fat which is
yeah,
easily absorbed into your body plus the caffeine. So
yeah,
in a way, it helps to boost your metabolism as well as helps in increasing satiety, which
yeah.
can help in supporting weight loss. But again, it's a fat, so all fats have to be consumed within some regulated quantity. So it's important to consult a dietitian before you consider even adding some sort of an MCT into your diet.
Even I consume the coffee with black coffee with a spoon of ghee every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's okay. Let's ignore that comment. Let's move on to the next statement. Uh, Decaffeinated coffee is completely free of caffeine. Truth or myth?
Oh no, it's a myth. Decaffeinated coffee are not completely free of caffeine. We have certain quantity of caffeine in it because like every like I can say in Netherlands it has 0.1% of caffeine in the product. You cannot completely ignore the caffeine from the coffee. So it's a myth for me. Um,
Okay. So that's true. So decaffeinated coffee can have up to 5 to 10 milligrams of caffeine left because the processing it goes through uh, doesn't remove all the caffeine. There are ways to remove, but that's not the procedure. So it's significantly less than the regular caffeine content of caffeine in a coffee. Like one cup can have up to 70 milligrams, but a cup can have up to 5 to 10 milligrams. So there's a lot of difference. So if there are
yes,
people who want to opt for decaf, also it's a good option.
yes.
So, statement five, sustainable coffee packaging has no impact on product quality.
Um, so this question is like kind of because it comes to packaging, but I cannot. It's more debatable for me because I feel that sustainable coffee packaging might have some product quality impact on product quality as well because if you are kind of reducing a lot of plastic materials, a lot of packaging materials from your normal existing packaging material can have a shelf life issue with your product with the product quality. So I am not so sure about it. I'll consider myself as it as a has no impact, so it will come under myth. I think it might have some impact according to me, so it's the M.
So, I think this is a little debatable statement because it again boils down to the kind of uh, packaging that we are using in sustainable also. So,
Yeah,
coffee is a hygroscopic substance like sugar and salt. So, it absorbs moisture. So the packaging has to be in such a way that the doesn't allow, it's like a barrier between the environment and the product. So that
Yes.
is where we need to find biodegradable and recyclable options that maintain freshness while reducing environmental impact.
Yes, because like sustainable, only the term sustainable does not mean like you should be removing all the packaging metals from the coffee, recent coffee packaging. You should at least have some layers in between the like the environment and the product, so that, as you said, like sugars and the instant coffee are hygroscopic in nature. They hold the moisture very fast from the environment and from the clumps.
Mhm. Even in salt and sugar, we have seen that happening.
Yes.
Okay. So the next statement, you can get some same antioxidants from instant coffee as you would from freshly brewed coffee.
I think yeah, it's a truth. Because I think the instant coffee and freshly brewed coffee, the in the instant coffee, the manufacturing process is quite of providing the heat treatment to the brewed coffee. Because if people does not know, in the instant coffee we are kind of using a technology जिसमें हम लोग ब्रूड कॉफी को स्प्रे ड्राइंग प्रोसेस करते हैं, लाइक अमूल अमूल के दूध को हम लोग जैसे मिल्क पाउडर में कन्वर्ट करते हैं, वैसे ही मिल्क का जो हम लोग का लिक्विड है, द कॉफी लिक्विड को हम लोग पाउडर में कन्वर्ट करते हैं, तो उसमें हीट ट्रीटमेंट दिया जाता है। और उस हीट ट्रीटमेंट की वजह से आई थिंक हम लोग का जो एंटीऑक्सीडेंट है या पॉलीफिनॉल्स जो भी कॉफी में रहता है वो डिग्रेड नहीं होता है, मोस्टली आई गेस वो डिग्रेड नहीं होता है। एंड फ्रेशली ब्रूड कॉफी में भी सेम ही रहता है, मतलब जो एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स वगैरह है वो डिग्रेड होते नहीं है। तो आई थिंक वी गेट द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ एंटीऑक्सीडेंट इंस्टेंट कॉफी, बट इट्स स्टिल लाइक इट्स ऑल्सो डिबेटेबल, तुम कितना हीट ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हो, कि एक्सेसिव में दे रहे हो कि नहीं, या फिर बहुत कम हीट ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हो अपने इंस्टेंट कॉफी को बनाने के लिए। सो फॉर मी फॉर नाउ इट्स अ ट्रूथ।
Because it's true that it's true. It's true. The answer is truth. But when it comes to the antioxidants that are present in coffee, they are mostly polyphenols, and the polyphenols that are present in coffee are not heat volatile.
ओके।
That's the simple reason why freshly brewed coffee and instant coffee would have the same amount of antioxidants in them.
या
And even the brewing process does not remove those antioxidants, but even if there is the application of heat.
Did you like
So
audience को
we,
बोल दिया? Sorry, like I was asking, like people should have an idea
yeah,
regarding what is instant coffee and what is a freshly brewed coffee, so that they don't get confused.
yeah. So I think you've explained it right now, so they have a clear idea.
Yes.
The seventh statement, functional coffee blends with added nutrients like adaptogens or collagen are more about marketing than real health benefits.
I think
I uh,
it's a myth.
Before you answer, let's okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
We would
Fine.
have
Fine.
waited for the audience, but
Okay. Fine. Let's see
this
what the
this is
audience
kind of
say.
what we have already discussed. So let's see if the audience were carefully listening to it.
Okay.
Uh, so I think yeah, that's true that it's a myth because what happens is the functional coffee blends can provide health benefits. It depends on the added ingredients. For example, adaptogens can help in managing stress. Collagen can support skin health. But their effectiveness depends on the quality and the dosage of the ingredients that are used. So, and it even depends on the dosage that the person is consuming. So
Yeah.
that has a impact on the body or doesn't have an impact. What is the person's background? And those all are many factors are responsible. So it is good that we have these products available in the market, but if it really has any health benefit or effect has to be personalized at the end.
Yeah.
So,
It really depends on the gender, उनका health conditions क्या
mhm,
है, तो different effect
mhm,
में different उसका functionality different way में present होता है। Like if I say about a pregnant woman, उनको ज्यादा खाना नहीं चाहिए, मतलब कॉफी के प्रोडक्ट्स दे आर, क्योंकि वो कैफीन सेंसिटिव होते हैं, और क्योंकि कैफीन हमारा हार्ट रेट और ये सब पैल्पिटेशन बढ़ा देता है, तो
Mm-hmm.
सो आई थिंक दे शुड लाइक एक पर्टिकुलर, बिकॉज यू आर अ डाइटिशियन यू शुड नो मोर अबाउट इट, एंड आई थिंक इट हैज अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन में वो इम्पैक्ट डिफरेंट वे में होता है.
Yeah, that's true. It helps, it increases the heart rate and overall it's a stimulant again. So it has bad effects on the pregnant women. So pregnant
Yes.
women are told to avoid coffee and tea. But uska bhi dosage hai. If they're having 1 cup, which is not very concentrated, 2 cups, that's okay.
Yeah.
So the eighth statement, coffee made from single origin beans is nutritionally superior to blended coffee. So before I would want to explain the statement to the audience that single origin beans is you just take one beans from one place and then you brew it or make an instant coffee out of it. Whereas a blended coffee is you mix 2 3 varieties and then you make the blended coffee. So is that single origin beans is superior, nutritionally superior than blended coffee?
Okay. So if what are the audience saying? Audience को पहले पूछो. Let's see what the audience
Audience,
says.
audience are silent today.
Okay,
They're
silent people.
looking at they are having more questions. So I have a list of questions here, but I would want to finish the game before we take the questions.
Okay, fine.
So
So I
what's
think,
your take?
okay. So for me, I think coffee made from the single origin beans is, I don't think like nutritionally superior तो बोल नहीं सकते, but I think blending of coffee is a good option if you want to make the coffee nutritionally superior. So it's a myth for me.
Yeah, that's true because single origin beans does have a unique flavor profile, but it does not necessarily mean that it's superior to the blends. And the nutritional content of coffee, such as antioxidants, is more affected by the way it's from the way it's grown, how it is processed, how it is brewed, than the origin. So the origin doesn't really have an impact on the nutritional quality or the nutritional superiority.
Yeah.
So there's a question. I think we'll address the one question here. So does it depend upon the consumption of the quantity and timing? So does coffee's consumption and its effects on the body depend on upon the quantity and timings during 24 hours?
Uh, so I can say that if the question should be answered by you, but maybe कुछ add कर लूंगा. So what I get to know is if you are drinking coffee in the early morning, so it takes around 45 to 50 minutes हमको टाइम लगता है पूरा हमारे न्यूरो ट्रांसमीटर मतलब मैं कॉफी जाके स्टिमुलेंट होने के लिए, तो वो एक प्रोसेस अराउंड 50 मिनट्स का रहता है. So you can feel the effect after 50 minutes if I am talking about the early morning process. But I don't think so, like if you are consuming the coffee at different stages of your time, like दिन में या morning में या night में, if you are drinking coffee at any part of your time, it has a kind of any special benefit. So the function is quite similar according to my knowledge. I If you can add something to it, please.
So, coffee consumption throughout the day, first of all, it should be in the first half of your day, since
Okay.
people are caffeine sensitive and it affects their sleep cycle. So, it has to be before sunset and preferably even before 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. So, it should be during the early hours of the day because it's a stimulant and helps you keep awake. And quantity depends upon the regular teaspoon, that kind of a brew. And if you are really wanting a concentrated brew, then you have to reduce your cups. So if it depends on the taste, the quantity, and at the end it boils down to the caffeine content, or if you are restricting your caffeine content. So those factors have to be personalized. But coffee, as such, is also used as a pre-workout drink, like black coffee. It helps in giving the strength and the energy to do the workout without
Yeah.
actually getting in any calories. So pre-workout also it's a good option.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think excessive consumption of coffee is not at all good for your health. So try to limit it to at least 2 to 3 cups of coffee. If you are considering black coffee, I am telling about the black coffee. And because this also
Mhm.
helps in the weight management, if the person is kind of obese, so they can go for having the black coffee rather than going for the milk based coffee. And quantity like should be at least 2 or 3 cups of coffee per day.
Mhm.
That's more than enough.
So there is another question. Does single origin means from a place or from a country?
Okay, single origin coffee. So what I got to know is like single origin coffee is kind of it is not like place or origin. It comes from the variety, which kind of variety that you are using. So single origin, I mean, I think that is the single origin that we are talking about. Because like if you are going for coffee, तीन चार variety के होता है, robusta, arabica, liberica. So these are single origin variety पूरा. तो I think
But
coffee.
I think the place also has an impact because where it's growing,
Yeah.
the humidity, the environment in which it is, and the way it's brewed over there, I think that also has an impact. I'm not sure about it.
I also am not sure about it, but what I get to know, what I know is like it's single origin. It can be like so from a single country, but I think it's about the variety, which kind of variety that you are using.
Okay, we'll check that out. For now, we'll move on to the next statement. Instant coffee has a larger or a longer shelf life because it contains preservatives.
Whew, instant coffee has a longer shelf life because it contains the preservatives. So instant coffee is itself a preservative. Like according to me, this is a myth. Yes.
So the audience say it's true, but that's true. It's a myth because instant coffee has a longer shelf life due to the dehydrating process. There's no
Yes.
water content, or the water activity of instant coffee is very low. That's how it's made.
Yeah.
So that the removal of the moisture means prevention of any microbial growth. So no preservatives are typically needed to extend its shelf life. There are addition of preservatives in blends and mixes which help in preserving the other ingredients as such. But instant coffee does not really need preservatives to increase its shelf life. So
Yeah.
okay,
Wow, you
so
have a quite good questions. I think these
this
questions, yeah,
So this is
I
the
love.
last question, and I think you have answered or explained this already, but let's see what the audience say. So freeze-dried coffee retains more flavor than spray-dried coffee.
Should I explain or should I wait for the audience? Let's see.
Let's wait. Let's wait.
Yeah.
The audience say it's true, but I think they have been listening very diligently throughout the
Yeah.
discussion. But you can explain.
Yeah. I think audience is true, and according to me also it's true because freeze dried coffee we are not using any kind of heat treatment, and that's the reason it kind of it preserves a lot of nutrients within the coffee. And in spray drying we are using heat, and we are using different kinds of I can say yeah, in the spray drying coffee we are using the heat treatment that destroy the nutrients to some extent. So because I have seen a lot of videos of Nescafe processing plant, and they also use the freeze drying process for preparing the coffee. So it's a truth. The statement is true.
Yeah, that's true because in freeze drying, there's a process known as sublimation that happens, which is conversion of solid coffee, that is, coffee is frozen and then it is directly converted into vapor form. There's no conversion into liquid form. There's
Yeah.
no heat used in that. So in that process, it's more gentle. So it retains the volatile compounds responsible for coffee's flavor more than compared to spray drying, in which it's pure heat treatment, wherein the coffee is sprayed into a chamber which is vaporized and which is a vacuum, which has a vacuum as well as it has a very high temperature to remove the water content of the coffee and get the fine powder.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think great answers. Now let's dig in back to what we were discussing about idea and market and coffee. We spoke about the market trends or how do you think there's a growing demand for functional coffee mixes? We spoke about how coffee and traditional brewing, instant coffee and traditional coffee brewing is different. But there's something called caffeine sensitivity. So when you talk about removing the caffeine content from coffee, it will help in with people who have caffeine sensitivity issues. But does it compromise the flavor when you're developing products?
So basically, what I know about the caffeine is that people are caffeine sensitive. They don't want the caffeine in their body because it is a kind of caffeine. What is caffeine? So caffeine is a kind of ingredient that's a secondary metabolite. Basically, the plant produces to protect against the diseases or the infection. And we as a
Okay.
human, yeah, so it is a secondary metabolites that the caffeine produces. So as a human, when we are consuming it, it kinds of increases the focus, the energy, and the attention within ourselves. So caffeine is basically as it is stimulant. So some people what they are demanding, we got to know from the consumer team, is like for the decaffeinated coffee, they wanted to remove the caffeine from the product, but they don't want to compromise the flavor. They wanted to have the same aroma, same flavor in their coffee. So it was a quite challenging task for us, for a R&D team, to develop the decaffeinated coffee. But as we have already discussed, like we cannot remove the complete caffeine from the product. We try to maintain the minimum level of caffeine quantity in our product, and try to complement some kind of caffeine flavors into our products, which are like naturally sourced, not the artificial flavors, but they are naturally sourced, so that we can at least complement the flavoring profile of the caffeine in the product, and also the voice of the consumer. As I said, we kind of try to hear the voice of the consumer. According to their wishes, we produce the product.
I think we have already exceeded the time, but before we continue, there are still questions coming in from the audience. But
Okay.
I would want to you to give your closing reflection or what is your one lesson or key takeaway from this journey that you think would benefit others.
Okay. So from the journey of coffee, what I got to know, because I have seen a lot of my friends who are doing the thesis on the coffee also. So currently there's a trend in the coffee. They are using the coffee waste for the method of fermentation process, and because in the fermentation they are kind of trying to develop a lot of vitamins, lot of enzymes from the fermentation process, because we have seen after brewing of the coffee a lot of wastes are generated that has a lot of insoluble carbohydrates, proteins, lipids in that waste after the brewing, whatever the product is obtained. So it is act as a substrate for the fungi or the bacterial fermentation. So this fermentation
Okay.
trend is going on. It's trending right now to enhance the quality of the waste product. So it's, I guess,
So I think
fermentation.
that's how we are helping the environment in prevent reducing waste.
Yes,
And
definitely.
I didn't know about the coffee and coffee waste generation. That's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Uh, for there's still one question uh, that does coffee have a side effect when mixed with honey or curd?
I uh i think with honey there is no, I don't know much about it. Like for the nutritional point of view, you are the best person to tell. But okay, let's
Okay,
answer the question.
I'll answer it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to coffee, so coffee has caffeine, and caffeine can act as a nutri as an anti-nutrient nutritional factor in preventing the absorption of other nutrients. So when it comes to honey, honey doesn't really have much of the nutrients. It has a few minerals and it has enzymes, active enzymes. So it when you mix coffee with honey, there'll be a little deprivation of absorption of those minerals, which are very trace. But when it comes to curd, curd has a lot of proteins. Curd has probiotics, prebiotics. So in those factors, it will prevent the absorption of those minerals or basic absorption of calcium from the curd, which will be hindered when you mix coffee with curd. So that should be avoided. That's the thing that I can tell. But when it comes to, a lot of desserts that are made these days, there is addition of coffee and curd. It's not a problem for your body. There's just a competition in your body for the absorption of calcium. If you're having separate and coffee separate, it has its own advantages. But if you're mixing it together, the benefits will reduce, but there will be some amount of benefits.
So,
I think
firstly, when whoever the audience have asked the questions, I am really thankful to the person. I got some new idea to search for. But the thing is that I've seen a lot of YouTubers also. They are kind of using desserts, and they are, as you said, they are adding the coffee in their curd or ice cream, because they are kind of a lot of weird combinations are going on right now. There's a trending of
yeah,
weird combinations. So sometimes I don't in India also I see chocolate Maggie or any kind of combination they can generate, which is quite difficult to process, like which is quite difficult to analyze. But it's a
yeah.
nice question. Okay.
I think we'll close the session with this. We are already 50 minutes into it. And thank you, audience, for the amazing questions today. And thank you, Atish, for this wonderful insight into coffee and coffee product development. Uh,
Yeah,
I think
thank you so
you
much.
have any, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I think we'll end the live stream. Sure. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.